If you suffer from anxiety, give me a few minutes, because I'm going to give you 2 proven ways to seriously reduce anxiety and enable you to live a less stress life. You see, I've just had what's possibly been one of the most stressful weeks in my entire life. And it's been stressful not because of what's actually happened, but because of my brain's stress and anxiety over what might happen. Just to give you a picture here, I'm applying for a visa to go to New Zealand, and now I want to go to New Zealand because my daughters are there. I left New Zealand just over a year ago because I couldn't get a visa to stay long term. Now the difficulty is that my circumstances are somewhat unique for reasons I don't want to go into. So I have to go through quite a lengthy process to apply for even a visitor's visa. And over this last week, my brain has just been going over the what ifs, and what if they ask all these awkward questions, and what if it gets rejected, you won't be able to see your kids, and all of this what if, what if, what if. And it got me to the point where I literally struggled to focus on my work, nothing to do with my visa. And I got so wound up, so stressed out, I was exhausted because I hadn't slept particularly well. And after discussing it with a friend, I just thought, well, I've got to send all this information. I've got to send all these details. I've got to submit these documents, because if I don't do it, of course I'm not going to get a visa. And in the end, I did it. I did it all on Thursday morning, and it was a huge sigh of relief. Now, I could have sent this information a week earlier, but I wound myself up to the point where I was just paralyzed. Absolutely paralyzed, and didn't know what to do. And in the end, I just had to work through the checklist of paperwork that I'd been sent. Now it's out of my hands. And when it was out of my hands, all of a sudden there was a huge sigh of relief. Now the point is, I was highly stressed, incredibly anxious, worried about whether I was going to get turned down and the implications of not being able to go and see my kids. All of this stuff, none of which had actually happened. And the irony is, I was given a visa before under the same circumstances, and there's no good reason why they should turn it down this time. But that's not what my brain was telling me. My brain was actually lying to me, presenting these worst case scenarios. So here's what's going on. When you get anxious about something that hasn't yet happened, your brain is actually expressing fear. Fear of what might happen. Not the actual facts of the situation, just the fear of what might happen. And it raises your stress levels, something chronic. Your heart rate goes up, your breath gets shorter, you feel tight, you feel highly strung and wound up. And if you're like me, to the point where you can barely function and barely focus on anything else. And the irony is that your brain is lying to you. Even crazier still, it's actually trying to protect you from the unknown. Your brain is actually trying to keep you safe, because the unknown means that your brain won't be able to control the situation, pushing the boundaries. Your brain won't be able to deal with this potentially. And so it's actually trying to keep you safe in a comfortable, managed, familiar environment. And this happens to a lot of people. Once you step outside of the familiar, anxiety levels start to rise. And it's not necessarily something you deliberately do. It's just your brain giving you a physiological reaction to a perceived threat or something that could harm you in some way, shape or form. So here's what you can do to begin to chip away at this stress response. First of all, just say to yourself, what if it all works out? Sounds silly, but believe it or not, it works. I've done this over and over in last couple of years. What if it all works out? And that helps to begin to challenge this thinking, challenge this negative bias, challenge your brain's fear response. What if it all works out? And ironically, you'll find that most of the time things have worked out. If you look back in your life, every time you were anxious, the chances are good it didn't happen the way your brain was telling you it was going to, and under most circumstances it will have gone okay. It will have worked out. So remind yourself, what if it all works out? Another good thing to do is breathing exercises, and this cannot be overstated. understated rather, because breathing enables your body just to get some oxygen into the lungs, because your cortisol levels, when they rise, they deprive your brain of oxygen. It actually stops you from being able to think properly, and it stops your muscles from being able to process this stuff. So it's no wonder that you feel wound up. So a good exercise to do, and it's not mine, comes from Dr. Andrew Huberman. I'd suggest you look him up. And a good way to do it is just to sit still, take a deep breath in, fill your lungs, take another very small breath, hold for a couple of seconds, and then slowly release. Breathe in as far as you can go, take another top up breath, hold for a couple of seconds, and then slowly breathe out. And do this 5 times with your eyes closed in a quiet environment. Now what you're doing is you're oxygenating the brain, you're oxygenating your whole body, you're actually combating your own cortisol levels and stress response. Now you put these 2 things together and they are immensely powerful. I've done this week, and I managed to get over the anxiety, managed to get done what I needed to get done. And the sigh of relief when I did it was unreal. It just literally within 20 minutes of submitting all this information, it's just like a massive weight had been taken off my shoulders. Yes, this takes some willpower. Yes, this might not necessarily be easy, but with practice you can get the hang of this. And the more you get the hang of it, the easier it becomes. And you do practice this and you can reduce anxiety over and over again for the rest of your life. So there we go. Two simple phrases, 2 simple ways rather of reducing anxiety. What if it all works out? And the breathing exercise. Don't let anxiety grip you. Don't let it ruin your life. Don't let it stop you from living an exciting, wonderful life. Don't let it paralyze you. You can do this. Practice. And if you've got questions, please ask in the comments below. I'm more than happy to help. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. So thank you. Please do yourself a big favor and begin to work on your anxieties. Your whole life, your mind, your body will thank you for it.